Welcome, everybody, to the LIPSEY'S Aim Higher podcast. I'm Rob Abrazino. We have Jason Klossner. We have two special guests, kind of mainstays in our booth. They're really part of the...
They're like fixtures now.
Part of the LIPSEY'S family here from American Fighting Revolver. We have Darryl Bolke and Bryan Eastridge. And we just want to kind of do a recap of yesterday, and then we'll dial in on a few specific guns, and we can get into some fun details here. Let's kick it off.
So, man, yesterday was... I had a bunch of the salespeople tell me it was probably the busiest SHOT Show day we've ever had.
I think it was.
I mean, the booth was packed from the time we opened to the time it ended. And it's funny. It's like a magnetic pull of all the cool revolver dudes in this building just like sucked in here and hung around.
Yeah.
And so that's why we got to have Bryan and Darryl here for the first day, because they basically talked mountain guns and ultimate carries pretty much for about 9 hours straight.
Yeah.
But it was a great day. We had a bunch of feedback, and we just kind of wanted to get these guys to give us a little recap on what they heard from all these dealers and media guys who came in.
You guys were hovered around mostly the mountain gun and the new titanium ultimate carry. So what were some of the feedback you got kind of immediately?
Well, the mountain gun, the buzz was all over the mountain gun this year, because a new configuration that was kind of a throwback, but never available before with that 686 Plus. And then the guys that were hot on the UC last year were coming by to see what's the next step in the UC project there, and there was a lot of that. Yeah. So,
yeah, I think the biggest thing is revolvers are back, baby. I mean, it was nuts on the interest, and it spanned. With mine and Bryan's background, we end up talking to a lot of the cops, too, who are here, the LE guys. And it's kind of interesting how many of the sort of senior firearms instructors and stuff are bringing their crew of young guys in that, hey, you need to come talk to these guys, and these are the guns that because they still are such great backup guns and off-duty guns and covert carry guns. That even the guys who are big on all the whiz-bang, red dots, lights, all the stuff, are bringing these guys back and saying, hey, talk to these guys about how you use these in those deep carry backup roles where they still serve so well. Yeah. So between that, obviously the UC got to talk about that because, the prototype was built on my kitchen table, so that's always kind of a cool thing.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I've been carrying one for a year, so it's good. So it's been kind of a really fun thing to talk about where that came from, the grip development. And then the SOA guys, that's a spectacular looking gun.
Cool?
And talking to them kind of how well the UC fit for their association, when they kind of pulled me aside and go, hey, did we pick the right gun? And I go, yeah, because, the reality, a lot of these guys, hey, dude, you guys live in the villages, we're all getting old.
Right.
I go, you can have a golden crusted 1911 sitting on the table,
Exactly.
or I go, you can have a gun you can carry every day with you and actually use, be proud of, show your association.
Right.
And
that's really when Andrew and I were talking about the configuration. At first, it was like, well, a JFrame might not be really associated with Mag V SOG, but Darryl hit it exactly on the head. It was like, we want a gun that they won't actually use. They've got enough commemorative guns sitting on the wall.
Yeah.
And they were kind of excited about, hey, we want something that we're going to be armed, but it'd be really cool to have these. And so they actually wanted that. And so it really worked out really well.
And, I've got my collection, guns that date back to that Vietnam era. And the reality is, J-frames were a thing for a lot of the special operations guys back then, because they had them on them all the time.
Right.
You're strapping your 1911 on to go do whatever it is you're doing and your big guns. But, around base and in town and doing all that, man,
stainless Model 60s were like
those
gold
and the other one were the bodyguards.
Yep.
Those were the concealed hammer, concealed carry guns of that era, and they were always a great traditional backup to the 1911. That's kind of their role, and a lot of the guys are seeing the UC has sort of brought a lot of that back. That the UC is such a good support gun for your Glocks and Staccato, all the different guns that are out there, your HKs, whatever your service gun is, they are just a great plug-in. in that same role. So
when I did the podcast yesterday with the guys from SOA and General Beauray, he was thrilled about the concealment, the size, the carryability of it. I mean, he's a really knowledgeable gun guy. And
right, it's like a challenge coin you can carry with you.
Yeah, right. Challenge coin to go bang.
Yeah, you can do it, man.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Brian, one of the things that you were telling me that a lot of the feedback you got from customers here, once you broke down the value on those mountain guns,
oh my gosh,
they were like, why are you selling these things so cheap? Because, I mean, yeah,
I would say inexpensive.
Inexpensive, right? Yeah. But those grips, if at retail, Tyler Gunwork, they're $250.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not inexpensive stocks. We're not the $30 slap-ons that we've kind of been accustomed to.
Yeah.
So, between that and the gold bead, you kind of broke it down. It's like a tremendous value.
Yeah, and even like a lot of the original mountain guns came with a ramp sight. It was pinned ramp sight.
Yeah, pinned ramp with Hogues.
Right. So you're looking at finding somebody that's capable of putting a brass or gold bead front sight, patridge sight. So you're out the cost of the sight, you're out the cost of the install, and then grips now, with Tyler, oh my gosh, after touring his facility and seeing how much work goes into those and how great they are, it's like, man, you're getting a great set of stocks with a relatively inexpensive gun attached.
Exactly.
Really.
It really is. And I'll tell you another thing, too. I know we talked about it in our launch video, but the flash chrome parts, they really slick up. Now, those guns were probably dry fired, about 3 billion times yesterday. It sounded, I heard click, 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 click in my head all night last night.
Yeah.
I'll conservatively say those triggers are about 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds lighter than they were when they first put out. I mean, they slicked up tremendously.
Yeah, and a lot of people get intimidated by like these modern manufacturing, modern engineering stuff. Well, it's not the old parts. Well, I've got a stash of the old parts because they break, and they just do. I mean, it's just part of it. So you've got 30 plus years of innovation, upgraded materials, upgraded engineering, all the tech stuff that has brought those guns to where they're still affordable to purchase due to the manufacturing techniques, but the manufacturing materials are so much better. And the MIM guns, I kind of look at it like they break themselves in. Yeah. So, if you get one and the trigger's like, it's got a hitch in it, it's like, give it some time.
Yeah.
Clear it out, put some snap caps in it, maybe, and sit there and work the trigger over and over and over.
You can dry fire your own action job with those.
Absolutely.
One of the other great things yesterday, those mountain guns in particular did, is it gave us an opportunity for a lot of people to talk about what makes a great revolver. All those little revolver nerd check the boxes. Hey, why is that taper barrel such a big thing? Why is the brass bead front sight, the black powder bevel, the grips, what makes those grips significant? Back in the day, what we did to get grips like that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean,
and it took time.
And it took time. And, you're writing letters to some guy.
Back when I did my Blue Magnums, I had to trace my hand. Or if you ordered Harrods.
Yeah.
And you couldn't fax it because it would distort it. You had to mail it. And they would build, and it took, it's a process.
We sit there and tell guys, hey, some of you guys are reliving this without the real history of reliving of what we went through to get a gun like that. That's why those type of guns were such status pieces with gun dudes.
Yeah.
It was sort of the drive on the 44 Special with the nerds was because we had to get the Special to get the taper barrel. Right. And I got guys now going, well, I really wish they made the 629 and a 44 Special. I go, dude,
it is.
It is. The reason we did the Special was because we wanted the taper barrel. That'll shoot all the 44 Special you can put in it.
Exactly.
And the other thing is, what I found those guns did is, because once we started educating people about some of these features, it started working into the other counter. I spent a lot of time at the next counter over on, hey, what's this thing everybody's talking about? Oh, perfect packing. Mountain guns lead right into perfect packing pistols. I mean, it's
stainless 4 5/8-inch Bisleys and mountain guns are like peanut butter and jelly.
And another one that another project we kind of were involved in from the beginning that went really well, and particularly exactly where we wanted it to go. The ladies in the LCR 32.
Yeah.
A lot of them, again, we went through that whole thing with the color. And again, I had a lot of comments from a lot of the ladies came in the booth that I showed them that gun. And, it was the same thing over and over that we heard from our test group, that included my wife and the girls and stuff, was, finally somebody made one that's a great ladies gun or a great non-dedicated revolver shooter, just kind of wants a fire extinguisher revolver, is you didn't do it in pink and purple.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like it's not condescending, but it's cool.
But it looks different.
It looks different,
Yeah.
but not condescending, and they really loved the color combination, the simplicity
And it's funny,
of it.
that gun looks a lot better in person than in pictures.
Right.
You know, we had a few people like, I don't know if I like it. They saw our pictures online. I said, look, those pictures, it's hard to really capture a bronze with the lighting and everything.
Yeah.
In person, it's a little darker, and it really looks really, really good.
Well, I stay engaged with our local shops, and one of them's a pretty good volume for LIPSEY'S dealer. And I always go in there and look for the exclusives to see where they're at in the cabinet. And I went to the Ruger stand. I said, you guys gotten any of the new 32 H&Rs? And they're like, yeah, but they last about 2 minutes because everybody goes, what's that with that color? It's such a pop, you know?
Right. Well, and you know, one of the big announcements here at the show, too, is Federal's got a lot more 32 H&R Magnum ammo.
Yeah.
They've got American Eagle practice 32 H&R, and they also have Hydroshock Deeps. So for all the people that were actually, wanting some, high performance expanding loads, I talked to the engineer yesterday, and he said, man, they're getting almost 50 caliber expansion with 14 inches of penetration, clothed and bare, and ordnance gel.
Yeah.
You really can't ask for any more than that.
And that was another great thing, was being able to educate people about the ballistics on 32. Because they read on the internet it's a mouse gun that doesn't work.
Right.
And we're sitting there, and I had some people go, well, for backcountry and stuff. And I go, hey, for, like particularly like the 32 gun, the LCR, like for a mountain biking, not a traditional backcountry hunting gun, but
just to be armed.
Trail running or kayaking or whatever, that LCR is a good fit. And I go, with that double tap, that we tested, that 120 hard cast, I go, dude, we blew 32 inches of gel and had a straight-on impact in the berm. I mean, do you need any more?
Yeah.
Which leads really well when you talk about just having a gun into that new NAA package you guys.
Well, that's
doing.
something that you guys, we kind of kicked around and said the true armed professional can't just do it with one or two guns. You really have to be able to have a gun that you can always have. And, there's that old rule 1, which is have a gun.
Yeah.
And so we kind of spec'd out this new North American Arms gun that I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I wasn't convinced at the beginning that would be viable. However, after going and testing it and shooting it, it makes that gun 10x more shootable.
Yeah, and that was a funny one. And again, that started with my conversation at the NRA show last year of sitting with the CFO of NAA, just having conversation. And I was absolutely, as a very serious gun guy, both the defensive training and all this stuff, we kind of poo-poo those things. It's like no real professional would ever carry one.
I think Brian calls them a rabbit's foot.
Yeah, I mean, it's like and I was absolutely staggered at like every person who walked by. I carry one all the time. I carry one all the and they spanned the gender, age, demographic spectrum from one end to the other, from kind of rural backcountry. Yeah, I take it to the cafe every morning, got loaded up for snakes. I live on rural property, to the Highland Park guy. Yeah. That when I'm golfing at the country club, I like having it with me. It hit the whole thing. And I thought about it, and that was what drove us on this project was, well, if you're going to have what we've termed convenient carry gun, let's see if we can make it at least capable.
Kind of the same thing we did with the UC.
Right, and so let's put a sight people can see on it, and then those Hamry forged grips on that gun.
Changes the game.
And I remember the first time Chuck Haggard shot my test gun with it, and that we did originally on the Puck. Mm-hmm. And Chuck's like, oh my God. And we were all kind of the same way. It's like, this is like a completely different gun with these grips.
Yep.
And, it all of a sudden puts that into, do I really want to go to a gunfight with it? No. But if I had a choice of nothing or that, that makes a great little gun, or especially, a handoff for my wife or something. Just something.
Well, and for me, like down in the South, if I'm carrying my regular carry gun, that gun is with those hammer forged grips with that little pocket clip. It clips in your pocket like a knife.
Right.
And I can load it up with 5 CCI snake loads. And now I've got a snake. A lot of times, where you get out going out in the checking the deer stands or whatever else. It's just I can always have a little snake gun that weighs 8 ounces.
Right.
And it's clipped in my pocket or clipped in my bino harness or whatever else.
Yeah.
And I can still now I'm not compromising my 629 mountain gun and having to put a snake load or 2 in there. I'm just keep it loaded up.
Right.
And I got that little gun as my little snake gun or just for whatever. It makes a lot of sense. And, after playing with that gun, you guys were like, man, I'm telling you, you're going to like it. And I'm sold on it now.
Yeah. I was the ultimate naysayer.
I was too.
And the place
brought me, he brought the gun with those grips, and I went, and my dad, NAA, I have a good history with him. My dad carried one for years as a narc, right? So, and showed them to him, and he goes, I wish I'd had those grips. Those are cool.
Yeah.
But he showed it. I was just like, man, those are neat guns. I think they fit a little niche. And then we went and shot it, and I'm ringing steel at 25 yards with a gun that's like the size of my pocket knife.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I get it now.
Now we get it. Yeah. There's a place for it.
Yeah.
So.
And the other place I found is, for me, ankle holsters are tough. It's a great carry method for being seated. But as everybody knows, I'm either wearing shorts and flip-flops or cowboy boots.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not ankle friendly.
No, and I call that gun, that's my AFR boot gun.
Yeah.
It's like the ultimate boot gun.
Yeah.
Clips into a top of a pair of boots. It's not heavy enough to weigh them over or fall out or whatever. And I got a viable something I can reach seated. It
serves a purpose.
It's a niche, but it's a niche that fits a ton of people.
Right.
When we talk about kind of 12 gauge shotguns, they're a niche weapon. Yeah, for everybody.
Yeah.
Well,
guys, that's what we like to do. We like to take platforms that are being used by a lot of people and optimizing them with good functional upgrades, not a bunch of crap. Not a lot of bling and stuff, but actual functional upgrades to make those guns. If you are going to carry them, make them as best and easy to shoot as possible. And with all the collaborations we've done with American Fighting Revolver, I think we've done a good job of it.
Yeah, we've done great.
We can't escape without mentioning the flat top 41 Bisley.
Brian's new favorite gun.
Brian's new favorite.
For reinvigorating my single action obsession in one gun. I went,
Yeah,
it's the platform. Boy, 41 mag got 41, a lot of talk yesterday.
Man, I tell you what, I heard 41 Magnum more times yesterday than I have in the last 10 years from customers. But I tell you what, I think it's coming back. There's a lot more ammo. I know Steve Shields is doing some great stuff at High Desert. And
Steve was the first guy in the booth yesterday.
Yeah, he was. He was the first guy who walked in the booth.
He was lined up at the door.
Yep. And that little mid-frame 41 Magnum flat top, the great thing about 41 Magnum, guys, is that the chamber dimensions and bore dimensions are always perfect on those guns.
Yeah. Right.
When you go 44 Special or 45 Colt, there's been so much variation over the years that you can get undersized, oversized throats, all this. 41s were always .410. So I have never personally, and I've shot 41 Magnums. That was my first big bore single action was a Ruger Blackhawk 41 Mag. I've never owned a 41 Magnum, which I've had a bunch of them, that didn't shoot. They always shoot probably better than any other cartridge that I've shot.
And not that I'm a skeptic or anything, but when you shipped me that gun, I immediately pulled the cylinder and got my pin gauges out, and every single chamber on it was exactly the same. And I went,
it probably doesn't hurt that they don't make a whole lot of 41s, so that tooling's probably still fresh.
And the other thing I love that this is because of the conversation with 41 and kind of what we do is sort of these educators on these, elegant weapons and something from a different time, is that a lot of people are really not aware that there's a Model 57 load and a Model 58 load.
Right.
And now being able to talk and really push the 58 load, which is the reasonable 41 mag that's, down in...
That's what Jordan wanted.
Right, which is exactly it. And and stuff like that. And, Steve's building a lot of that ammo for us. It's like, my God, it's comfortable to shoot. It's super accurate. It's powerful. It does all the things without beating you to death.
Yeah.
And it really fits into these medium platforms now where you get really exceptional performance in a medium platform without having to go to the bigger guns.
The big guns, yeah.
You know, for true grizzly country,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But that gun with Warp 6 loads, that Bisley grip frame,
It handles
all
it.
Yeah.
day.
It handles it. Yeah.
Well, guys, what we're in 25 now, so what do we have coming up for AFR this year?
Well, of course, AmericanFightingRevolver.com, our paywall website. We shipped it off another platform from last year. Membership's growing, and email lists are growing, and products. We've got e-commerce now, so we're selling some holsters, things like that.
Cool.
In October, we are launching our second event on the East Coast, which this year we're changing the name to Revolver Fest, and we're hoping we're actually going to work the show floor and try to get the big revolver manufacturers to come out and have a demo day, and then 2 days of training right on the heels of it at the Clinton House Plantation in South Carolina. We did it last year, had a great turnout, and but we're a little more snubby specific for that one.
Right.
And we had so much interest on the East Coast. They're like, why don't you guys do a big event? And the tickets, they're on AmericanFightingRevolver.com, and we've got over a third of them have sold. That event's 10 months out.
Yeah, that's
So
fantastic, man. You
And the
told
cool
me that
thing
yesterday.
is, LIPSEY'S is the title sponsor.
Yeah, we're the
Whether-
title sponsor.
Whether they wanted to be
They're
or
not.
Yeah.
Darryl basically put a gun to our heads. We had to do it.
that happens. Yeah.
But we got that, and of course we do Revolver Roundup at Gunsight. We Darryl's been partnered with Gunsight on that event, the Pat Rogers Memorial Revolver Roundup, which is a legacy event, a lot more law enforcement kind of stuff and old historical stuff. The East Coast event is more like, let's get down in the weeds and train with these guns.
Right.
But with all the manufacturers really digging in behind revolvers, we want to give them a chance to get the public at large involved and get hands on those. So Brian's got a lot of work to do this year.
We're going with that multi-band rock festival vibe.
There you go.
All
Yeah.
the manufacturers, everybody out
There you
having
go.
a great time and kind of making revolvers great again.
We're
that's
really
fantastic.
excited about it, and
Yeah.
obviously we're going to have by that time we'll have a lot more cool offerings. So
Yeah, it'll be
really
great.
cool.
Yeah, a lot of stuff coming down the pipe.
Well,
now.
guys, thank you. It's always great to have you in the booth. I know you guys are probably moving down the road a little bit today. You're working the show a little bit. And
We got some legwork to do for that event, but check it out at AmericanFightingRevolver.com, the shop link, and we will have RevolverFest.com will be going live right about the 1st of March, where you'll be able to buy a ticket to the demo day and come and shoot all the guns. And from what I understand, there might be a company front-loading some of that stuff into the pro shop. So if you come out and shoot the gun and you go, I wish I could buy that right now, we'll walk 50 yards up the hill and go get you one. You know?
right.
So
Cool.
So that's the vision. All right.
guys, thanks again, for your support, for hanging in the booth and talking to all of our customers and our dealers. It's a game changer for us. It's really, really helpful to have this kind of knowledge. As you can hear, the lack of me talking, I just let the horses run when these mics come on. I'm like, I'll just stand here and listen.
We
it's
love the
fantastic.
LIPSEY'S family. We actually feel like we're at a family event now, and it's great.
Yeah, it's cool. Thank you, guys. American Fighting Revolver.
.com.
That's singular, not S, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
All right, cool. And you can find them also on Instagram and Facebook at, AFR Official, I
Yes.
believe. At AFR Official, you can find them there. And you know where to find us at LIPSEY'S Guns all over social media. So until next time, folks, aim higher.